The first time Carl Perkins heard music, really heard music, it didn't come from a phonograph or the radio. It was during the late 1930s, at the time of the Great Depression, when Carl was a kid, barely school age, working with his family on a 400-acre cotton plantation in Tiptonville, Tennessee. They were the only white family in a predominantly black environment. It would be mid-afternoon, and the sun would be beating down on Carl and a group of 40, maybe 50 workers when he'd hear a voice from someone picking cotton nearby. Soon enough, another voice would join in, and Carl would almost explode with joy, knowing what would happen next. They'd all be singing in unison. My blood would start boiling, he recalled many years later, his excitement still palpable. More often than not, the first voice Carl heard belonged to a man called John Westbrook, known to all as Uncle John, while the second would usually be another cotton worker called Sister Juanita, whom Carl would one day name-check in his song Cane Creek Glory Church. She would be singing that real high part, recalled an adult Carl, while John Westbrook would be hitting the bass note. It was beautiful, man. Others would join in, singing gospel songs, what Carl would call those old-time hymns. Anyone who didn't know the words hummed along in harmony. As their voices rose, Carl responded in a very physical way. The little chill bumps stood up on my arms. He was particularly delighted by what he described as that rhythm thing the black workers could create vocally, the ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Unable to take instruments out into the field, they were forced to improvise vocally, and Carl loved what he heard. Music seeped deep into his DNA. He described the cotton field singers as a big orchestra of voices. Those songs just bled into my country soul, said Carl. Carl Lee Perkins, born on April 9th, 1932, was the middle child of 3 Perkins boys. Carl's big brother James, known as Jay, was 2 years older, while his younger brother Clayton was born in 1935. Jay was quiet and gentle but strong, while Clayton was more rambunctious, the kind of kid who didn't mind a scrap. Of the Perkins brothers, Clayton was the funniest and the wildest, noted family friend Johnny Cash. Carl loved his siblings equally and would eventually make music with both. On Carl's birth certificate, the surname of his father, who was known to all as Buck, was misspelled as Perkins. Buck was illiterate. His real name, Fonny, was also misspelled as Phony. Carl's mother's name was Louise, née Brantley. They'd married in August 1928. My daddy, Carl said in 1977, was a sweet little fella who knew about 3 chords on the guitar and could guess the weight of cotton in a wagon by looking at it. Buck's brother Ernest, one of his 6 siblings, had married Louise's sister Nell in 1929. When Carl was born, Ernest, Nell, and their baby daughter Martha Lee shared a shack in Tiptonville, a rural town roughly halfway between Memphis and Nashville.